you are new to my channel, I say welcome, and what I like to do is basically talk about classic rock anything, so let's go ahead and get into some classic rock news. So Aerosmith, who doesn't love to talk about anything related to Aerosmith? So they just finished their Deuces Are Wild residency at the MGM in Las Vegas. Darn it, I didn't get to go, but hopefully I can go to one of their MGM shows coming up here in Springfield, Massachusetts, so that would be pretty dang awesome. Now, Joe Perry, he just talked about how he would be rather interested in having a Broadway musical done about the band's life, and why the heck not? I mean, come on, they were just on American Pickers with their original tour van. That episode aired the other night. I still haven't seen it yet. I don't have a minute to breathe sometimes, so I can't wait to see that. Fans were loving it. Again, check that out, American Pickers, the whole story about the Pickers going and finding Aerosmith's original van rotting away in the woods in western Massachusetts. How could that possibly be a thing? But it definitely was. And you know, when you think about Aerosmith, you think about some of the songs that they've sung. Well, I personally love I Don't Want to Miss a Thing. That is from the movie Armageddon, and Steven Tyler's daughter Liv had the lead role, right? Lead Liv in Armageddon. So you would think that Steven actually wrote I Don't Want to Miss a Thing because, hey, his daughter's going to be in it. Let me go ahead and write up a song, you know, just so we could do that. But he didn't. Diane Warren actually wrote I Don't Want to Miss a Thing and a couple of other really famous songs that she wrote. Jefferson Starship, Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now, and Dear Lord, when I did weddings with my husband, DJ'd them, it's all we played at the end of the night. Jefferson Starship, nothing's gonna stop us, and everybody get in a circle, and they'd start hugging the bride and the groom, and then you gotta go now. Did you give me your envelope? Yes. So that huge song. And another great song that Diane Warren wrote, again, you just forget, Bad English's When I See You Smile. I love that song. I love that song. I love Bad English. And Bad English, let's talk about Bad English for a second. Talks about Bad English, because you forget. Ricky Phillips, Dean Castronovo, see what I mean? I forgot too. Jonathan Cain, Neil Schon, the Journey guys, right? They were in Bad English. And John Waite, the lead singer. He was the big guy. You just totally forget. So go ahead and listen to anything Bad English, especially When I See You Smile, and I swear to you, you'll smile and you'll go, thank you, Kiki, for making me remember that song, because I forgot about it. I forgot, but now you remember it. Bad English, When I See You Smile. I love it. So Vince Neil from Motley Crue, Vince. Always a little bit of trouble. You know, little bit of trouble follows Vince sometimes. Well, just recently he was ordered to pay about $170,000 to some lawyers that were doing some work for him from 2016. So I guess what happened was, this is a crazy Vince story, I think. So it was 2016, he was buddy and compadres and pals with Nicolas Cage. Remember Nicolas Cage? Now Nicolas Cage, right? I mean, he's done a ton of amazing things. But one thing that Nicolas Cage did, he was in Moonstruck. I love Moonstruck. Cher, because I mean, I'm a Cher idolistic person. I love her. And he was in that with her. But do you remember the movie when Peggy Sue got married? His teeth bothered me so much in that movie. I can't, every time he talked, I'm like, who did his teeth? Who did Nicolas Cage's teeth in When Peggy Sue Got Married? Still to this day, it bugs me. But anyway, love him. Didn't like those teeth so much. So Vince and Nicolas, they're hanging out together, and this fan taking some pictures with Vince. All right, that's cool. Oh, Vince, I love you. Blah, blah, blah. Taking pictures, and then she turns into a squirrel. I do the same thing, because Nicolas Cage, who was hanging out with Vince, he walked by and she's like, oh my gosh, Nicolas Cage, I love you. Went to try to get an autograph or a picture, whatever it was, from Nicolas Cage, and Vince Neil pulled her by the hair, right, and dragged her to the ground. Pull, drag, down. Craziness, crazy. Now, I guess she didn't get too hurt. Not the deal though, right? You shouldn't be doing that to anybody. So of course she sued him, and he was paying the lawyers, like, yeah, I'll pay you. You're defending me. Okay. But then he stopped paying them. So now it's come to the time where he's going to pay them. It amounted to, like I said, about $170,000, and about $21,000 of that $170,000 is court costs. I want to be like on that, like I want to do a court cost thing, because apparently they make a lot of money for paperwork. That's not bad, 21 grand for a few years worth of work, right? So Vince lost that. He's got to pay them back. But again, they're still fighting that from 2016. That is kind of crazy. So the moral of that story is, if you see Vince Neil with Nicolas Cage, just stay away. I would just go over here and maybe wait until they leave. I just would not. I just would not go near either one of them. I would not. So I recently talked about how Sammy Hagar said that David Lee Roth doesn't like him. Sammy likes David. He likes him. But he said, David doesn't like me, is what it is. David doesn't acknowledge the fact that Sammy brought Van Halen to a really good place. Whatever. Life is still good for Sammy, right? So now David Lee Roth recently came out. Because I'm like, I don't hear David talking bad really about people. Like, I don't hear that. But he is now. So he came out recently on Marc Maron's podcast and said, you know what? I've always hated the guys in Van Halen. It's just been a thing. They're like a bad pair of jeans with holes in them. I don't know what the hell that meant, but that's what he said. So he also thinks that because they all hated each other so much, that is why they were so successful. I cannot imagine being around someone for years and years and years, performing and knowing that we all absolutely hate each other. But it did work for them for a time until it didn't anymore. Now, you just have to also wonder, a Van Halen reunion was definitely in the works, and I also brought up the fact that, wow, Eddie Van Halen, all of a sudden, he's now on social media, he's got pictures out there, is something maybe going on? But now I'm kind of thinking that David came out and said all this stuff. Maybe David was the reason that the reunion didn't happen. Maybe. He's like, you know what? I hate everybody so much, I just can't do it. Because he also said on the Marc Maron podcast that he couldn't even eat dinner with Eddie Van Halen if he had to. I mean, come on. Have a clam cake, some chowder, chocolate cake. Chocolate cake makes everybody happy. So you're telling me if someone gave you and Eddie a piece of chocolate cake to maybe eat together with at dinner, after you have a nice, like maybe some lobster, some calamari for an appetizer, you're telling me you couldn't eat dinner with Eddie Van Halen, especially if it's free? Like, what is wrong with you? I would do that. I mean, because that's a good meal right there. Calamari, lobster, and chocolate cake. What, are you crazy? But he's saying, nope, couldn't even eat dinner with him. That's just not, wow, that hurts. That stings right here. I'm not even Eddie or David, and it hurts me. So again, maybe he is the reason why Van Halen did not go on that reunion tour. Kind of makes you wonder. Gene Simmons, he was recently on Good Morning Britain with Piers Morgan. Remember, they were both on Celebrity Apprentice together. Piers won, Gene didn't. Oh well, they're still friends anyway. And Gene said that the world is in the best shape that it has ever been in. Economy, jobs, all of that. So he said everything's looking really, really good. And what about the End of the Road tour? So Gene also said that adding Tommy Thayer and Eric Singer to the band years and years ago gave him renewed energy to go back out there and perform and just do a great, great job. So he is very, very happy with the addition of them. And he also made it a point to say that Eric and Tommy show up on time. I mean, he's going to think, I would not want to be late to an appointment with Gene Simmons because he is very about being on time and punctuality. He really, really is. So he did say that. And also, what about the end of the end of the road tour? Well, he did just say that he will cry like a little girl at the last show. And when is the last show? Well, the guys in KISS know when that last show is. They know the date, but they are not releasing it yet. The end of the road tour. It is coming to an end. Not for another couple of years, though. And next month, Gene turns the big 70. So when he is 72 years old, the end of the road tour will literally be the end for KISS. Can you imagine? Gene Simmons is going to be 72 when that tour is over. That's a lot of touring, a lot of singing, and a lot of stomping in those platform boots. So Steve Perry news, I really have nothing. And again, until I have something, I will tell you, I will make stuff up if I have to, and I will make something up. So the last time he actually posted something on Instagram was on July 1st, and he was saying, "Thank you. It's an honor to be included in this playlist," talking about a Spotify playlist. "Thanks, Spotify. Listen at the link in bio." Because they put "We're Still Here" in there and "For You" by Paul McCartney. That's a great song, by the way. If you haven't heard "For You," all the Egypt Station songs, gosh, Paul McCartney. Dang it, he's so good. He's so good. Like, you think about every song the Beatles put out was just amazing. And all of this new music that Paul McCartney has put out is really amazing. So it's like a magical thing. Magical mystery tour. That's what it is. And then, and third on that list was Prince's "Nothing Compares to You." Remember that song? Nothing compares to you. Like, you just did to you. That's what he did. So that's the last time Steve Perry posted anything on Instagram was July 1st. So we're going to do like an Instagram follow of Steve Perry because I have nothing. So I cannot believe it. Of course, I have breaking news. Breaking Steve Perry news. Not really. It's not too exciting. But obviously it's breaking news because when I was already talking about how I really had nothing to say about Steve Perry and he hasn't posted for like a week, well, now he posted something. So, breaking Instagram, Steve Perry post, "This is insane," and it says, here we go. "Getting into the spirit for the Midsummer Classic with my new We're Still Here baseball shirt. Go rep those SF Giants, Will Smith." So, I don't think he's talking about Will Smith getting jiggy with it. That Will Smith. There must be a Will Smith on the baseball team. San Francisco Giants, right? He likes baseball. And his hair's kind of messy. So you might want to go to Instagram and look up Steve Perry music. If not, how exciting that I was able to deliver this breaking news to you. Steve Perry posted on Instagram. I have no life. What could I say? Oh shit, let me do some news sounds. That sounded kind of good, right? It's a cheap production, guys. So there you go. You know I'm still waiting. Girl can't help it. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for hanging out for just a few minutes for some classic rock news with a little bit of a twist. I'm Kiki again. I appreciate you. I really, really do. Have a great night, a great weekend, a great everything. And as always, remember, most importantly, what is important? To keep rocking.